surviving as trans in the 1970s. I will never forget it. The year was 1978. I was 16 years of age, and I just left Calgary and everything I knew to go over the mountains to Vancouver and the infamous Davie Street, which was a gay mecca at the time. Because you see, back then, if you were a trans kid, well, that wasn't even the word. It's like if you knew that you had to transition, most parents would just throw you out onto the street. And so please touch all the bells and whistles in here, share and everything so that we can get this message out, because not many of us survived because it was so hard back then. If you didn't look like this, if you didn't look like you could pass into the world, you would never make it. Nobody did. And so you would hang out with lowlifes and people that were struggling in survival industries in your hometown. Mine was Calgary. And I'd hear tales about how these young trans kids would go over to Vancouver and figure out how to be these gorgeous transsexual women. Well, actually, they're women. You were transsexual as if you were doing it. But it's like the goal was to be a woman. You didn't want to have any other tags connected with you. Anyway, so the ones that were blessed enough, I used to call it blessed with the curse, to be able to work as cisgender SWs, if you know what I mean, on the street. So you were pretending that you had all of the accoutrements of a female, and then working, the stroll as well. It was just insane. That's why nobody made it. It's like, it was like jails, institutions, or death, really, truly. Tiggy, my friend that I grew up with, and she was a young trans girl. She was 2 years younger than me. We even said, we had a pact. We said, okay, if we start our characteristics, our secondary characteristics kick in, and we start looking like men, like obvious men that, that there's no way that we can hide that, we would made a pact to unalive ourselves, because we were not going to go any further, because we knew how hard it was. We saw it all around us. People were being thrown into jails. There was any person that was not of feminine face, but they were, they were trans, they were living their life, as a woman, but it was so hard because they obviously, couldn't pass. And that's why I cannot stand pick-me's, and because the whole reason that, that I exist is just because I could pass. That is wrong. That is wrong. Do you see? That's why we're fighting. It's all about what a woman should look like. They're trying to dictate that. And, we have to get it through our skulls that you should not have to look a certain way to be able to be treated with respect, And that doesn't mean that I don't cringe at, Chrissy the crossdresser and, doing her AGP routine in Hooters and stuff like that with, young women that work there. It's just, creepy like that. There's crazy people in all communities, right? Just know that, And of course, right-wing propaganda is going to push out people like that and go, see, it's all like them. Say, I can't stand those, but they don't ruin it for the rest of us, because they are ruining it. Like the people that are spinning that. Remember that, because you should be able to look like a truck driver and still be a woman if that's who you are. Remember that. Anyways, it was so mental to be in stealth back then, and I would not tell anybody. I would hang out in the gay community a little bit at the first beginning of my transition. That was a safe space to go to. But then, it's run by cisgender male people, and they were just as cisgender brain is cisgender brain, right? So they would even dictate, what we should look like, or, stuff like that too. So I was in the mainstream for most of my life. So when I would get found out, I would always fall apart and act like, do, white little girl tears, and just play it up and just go, I know, it's like, I'm so embarrassed about who I am, and it's like I was born with this anomaly, and oh my god, I used to just milk that one, right? And the shame that I felt that I had to do that so I could survive, right? And then a lot of these people would have savior complexes and help me, and they're really good people, but it was only if I set up my who I was like that to them, type of thing, right? There was no language back then. We were the freaks. We were supposed to just act like, we were an anomaly. And I didn't want anybody that could not pass around me. I'm very embarrassed that I was one of those people, that I wouldn't help my sisters when they were, when stuff was happening to them, because I was being stealth and working, and by the time I got into recovery at 28, I was like, I just didn't want to be around any other trans people, because it was just so hard, right? And I was just barely doing it myself. So yeah, it was tough back then. The 70s, yeah. I'll never forget it.